Ilara stepped onto the cracked surface of the hangar platform, the wind brushing against her face carrying the scent of sand and dust from the surrounding desert valleys of Arcanus Prime. She had not been here for many years, since she was a young elf girl learning to navigate the stars alone, and now everything felt both familiar and strange at the same time. The hangar stretched before her, a massive structure of steel and glass that had once gleamed with life and purpose, but now was faded and silent. The doors were partially open, as if inviting her in or perhaps waiting for her return. Her companion Kale the dragon moved beside her, its obsidian scales catching the light of the twin suns. They had been together since she had found the hatchling in the wildlands of the outer territories. Kale had grown into a powerful creature, loyal only to her, yet cautious and aware of danger. As always, its eyes scanned the horizon, and the air crackled with an energy that she could feel deep in her bones. Inside the hangar it was quiet except for the hum of the systems that had not yet fully died. The floor was littered with remnants of past activity, scattered tools, old crates and broken pieces of machinery that told the story of years abandoned and forgotten. She moved forward, her steps echoing against the walls as she approached the heart of the hangar, where her childhood ship the Starling rested. The ship looked smaller than she remembered, but it held the same presence, the same aura of intelligence and history. Its hull was scratched and worn, yet somehow intact. Ilara placed her hand against the smooth surface of the hull, and a shiver ran through her. The ship felt alive beneath her fingers, its metal warm as if it remembered her touch. The cockpit canopy opened slowly without sound, and the interior lights flickered to life, bathing the hangar in soft blue illumination. The Starling greeted her in a gentle voice that seemed to echo in her mind. "Welcome back, Ilara," it said, a simple statement that carried years of memory and longing. Kale let out a low rumble circling the ship, its wings brushing against the walls. It had sensed the awakening of something powerful and ancient. The dragon looked at her and nodded as if urging her to proceed, and she knew that the time of waiting was over. She climbed the small ladder into the cockpit, feeling the familiar controls beneath her fingers, the shape of the steering panels, the tactile sensation of the switches, and levers, the gentle hum of the engines responding to her presence. The ship's AI spoke again, providing system status and updates. It began automatically repairing minor damage, repairing circuits and purging rust from the mechanical joints, as if it had been waiting for her return for years. The holographic screens flickered, showing star maps, distant colonies, and data encrypted with codes she had not seen since her training days. It was as if the Starling had preserved every memory, every secret for her alone. Ilara settled into the pilot seat and closed her eyes for a moment, letting the memories flood back. Her time with Captain Laura Vance and the crew of humans who had trained her came alive in her mind. They had taught her not only the ways of navigation and combat, but also the bonds of trust and loyalty across races. She remembered the long nights under starlit skies, where they shared stories and laughter, the camaraderie that had felt unbreakable until the war had torn them apart. A sudden pulse of light from the Starling brought her back to the present. The ship had detected something approaching from the outer rim. Kale growled low, feeling the same disturbance. The hangar trembled faintly as the sensors identified old drones from the first interstellar conflict, ones thought long destroyed. Yet here they were still patrolling in silent vigilance. It was as if the past had returned to meet them. Ilara took a deep breath, her mind racing. She knew that returning to the hangar was not a simple act of nostalgia. It was a summons and a challenge, a destiny long forgotten but now unavoidable. The Starling extended its docking arms and connected fully with her neural interface, allowing her to feel its movements and processes as if they were her own. The fusion was not new to her, but the power it brought was different now. Stronger, more aware. It was as if the ship itself had matured while she had been away. Outside the hangar, the wind shifted, carrying faint echoes of movement. Dust swirled in the air, and Kale's wings beat against the confined space, the sound of scales scraping metal mingling with the hum of the Starling. The hangar had become a living place again, alive with anticipation, energy, and the unspoken promise of adventure. The dragon lowered its head, letting her know it was ready to protect and fight alongside her. If needed, Elara studied the surrounding landscape, the desert, stretching far and wide with jagged cliffs and valleys, carved by ancient rivers that no longer flowed. The sun reflected off distant metallic remnants half buried in sand relics of past battles that had shaped the world she now returned to. The sense of time lost and regained filled her chest with determination. She had a purpose here, a mission that she had not fully understood until this moment, and the starling was the key. The starling's voice filled her mind once more with a soft, reassuring tone. Systems are operational, fuel levels sufficient. Navigation charts updated, star maps aligned. Destination unknown awaiting your command. It was an invitation, not a question, and she felt the thrill of anticipation rise within her veins. The small cockpit was suddenly alive with possibilities, a microcosm of the universe she had yet to explore. Kyle nudged her arm gently as if sensing her hesitation. The dragon had always understood her fears and hopes, and now it was a reminder that she was not alone. The hangar itself seemed to lean closer, its walls stretching outward, enclosing them in a cocoon of safety and readiness. Every shadow, every beam of light felt purposeful, as though the building itself had remembered her presence and was aiding her return. Elara adjusted her grip on the controls, feeling the cool metal under her fingers. The starling responded instantly, its engines humming a steady vibration that resonated through her body. The ship was not just a vessel. It was a friend, a mentor, and a guardian all at once. It had watched over the years it had waited, and now it was time to begin again. The memories of childhood adventures melded with the knowledge of battles fought and lost, giving her clarity and resolve. The hangar doors creaked open wider, the air from outside rushing in, carrying the scent of distant storms and uncharted territories. Elara took one last glance around the hangar, the place that had shaped her dreams and fears, the site of beginnings and endings. It was silent, yet expectant, as if urging her to step forward into the unknown. Kale spread its wings ready to soar beside her, and the starling's lights pulsed with readiness, anticipation, and intelligence. With a deep breath, Elara activated the ship's engines, the gentle vibration building into a steady hum that filled the hangar. The starling lifted smoothly, its systems aligning with her commands as if they had never been apart. The dragon leaped from the platform and soared alongside the ascending ship, the wind carrying them into the open sky above the desert. The hangar shrank behind them, a forgotten memory, yet an indelible part of their past. Elara looked at Kale and smiled, the thrill of adventure coursing through her blood. She could feel the starling responding to her, every thought, every instinct, as they moved in perfect synchrony. The journey ahead was uncertain, full of danger and discovery, yet she had returned stronger, wiser, and ready. She had come back to the hangar to reclaim what had been hers, and now she had taken the first step into a new chapter of her life. The twin suns of Arcanus Prime blazed on the horizon, lighting the desert plains in gold and crimson. Elara and Kale ascended higher, the hangar becoming a small shadow in the distance. The starling hummed softly, carrying them forward, a vessel of memory, of power, and of endless possibility. The first mission was about to begin, but for now, they savored the freedom, the awakening, and the quiet promise of what was to come. The desert stretched, below them vast and open, yet filled with echoes of the past and the certainty of a future waiting to be shaped. Elara felt the hum of the starling beneath her hands as the ship moved through the empty skies of Arcanus Prime. The twin suns cast long shadows across the desert below, while the wind carried the scent of minerals and dry sand. Kale flew close, beside the ship, its wings catching the light as they rose higher into the atmosphere. The world stretched endlessly below them, a landscape both harsh and beautiful, full of forgotten ruins and abandoned roads that spoke of a time long past. Inside the cockpit, the starling flickered with activity, its controls alive with pulses of energy as systems checked and rechecked themselves. The AI spoke softly, giving status updates in a voice that was both mechanical and warm. All critical systems Operational fuel reserves, optimal navigation chart, synchronized power distribution nominal. Ilara listened carefully, absorbing the information. The ship had prepared itself as if it had been waiting for her return for decades. As the Starling warmed up its engines, the ship projected holographic maps across the cockpit, showing the surrounding stars and nearby planets. Some were familiar from her training, others were distant colonies she had only heard of in old records. The AI highlighted points of interest in faint blue lines, some marked with symbols she did not recognize but felt familiar deep in her mind. It was as if the Starling held knowledge of the universe that she had yet to learn. Kale rumbled low, sensing movement outside the protective shields. The dragon had always been attuned to danger, and its instincts told it something was approaching from the outer rim. Distant shadows moved across the sand far below, mechanical and fast. They were old drones, relics of the first. Interstellar War, their purpose long forgotten, yet their sensors still active. Their arrival signaled that the past was not fully at rest, and that her return had stirred forces that had waited quietly for years. Ilara gripped the controls tighter, focusing on the readings from the Starling. The ship responded instantly, its systems aligning to her neural signals, allowing a seamless connection between thought and action. She could feel the engines vibrate with life, the hum of energy flowing through conduits and the gentle movements of the ship adjusting to the air currents above the desert. It was a sensation of harmony and power, a reminder that the Starling was more than a vessel. It was an extension of her will. The AI began to replay old transmissions captured during her absence, encrypted human messages that had been preserved carefully. Starling explained that these messages contained records of fleet movements, orders, and logs from humans long gone. These were not ordinary humans. They were part of a fleet preparing to reclaim the border worlds, a force she had known only in fragments through stories and rumors. As she listened, the truth began to emerge. The war that had torn elves and humans apart had never fully ended. A pulse of energy surged through the ship, signaling an anomaly in the nearby space. A beacon, faint and flickering from a long-lost human fleet, lay hidden behind the nebula. Ilara felt a shiver of recognition. The signal was meant for her. Call from the past, yet a warning as well. Kale growled, sensing the disturbance, the air around them vibrating with the presence of power not fully understood, yet clearly dangerous. The cockpit of the Starling filled with soft blue light as the AI began to decode the encrypted transmissions showing locations and potential allies and enemies. The maps flickered across her vision, displaying fleets, ships, and coordinates. Some she remembered from her training, others she had never encountered. The information flowed smoothly, connecting past and present, giving her an understanding of the complex web of alliances and threats that now surrounded her. Ilara remembered the training sessions with Captain Laura Vance and the lessons learned aboard the Starling as a child. Her mind raced as pieces fell into place. The captain had prepared her for something beyond ordinary missions, something that involved both elves and humans. The histories of their powers combined, and the possibilities of reconciliation and war. She could feel the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility filling her chest. Kale shifted its wings, adjusting to the currents around them. The dragon had always been a silent guide, reminding her to trust instincts and feelings over calculations and plans. The ship responded to this harmony, and she felt a bond stronger than ever, the AI Starling merging knowledge, instinct, and intuition, creating a fusion of abilities that made them a formidable force. Together. Outside the hangar, now far below the desert, continued to stretch endlessly, old ruins scattered across the sands, whispering of the battles and lives that had come before. The Starling moved with grace, its engines lifting them higher into the atmosphere, the shadows of clouds stretching long over the barren land. The sun glinted off distant metal structures, hinting at abandoned colonies and hidden technology waiting to be rediscovered. The AI spoke again, highlighting new data points, distant fleets and ancient outposts. Her fingers danced across the control panels as the ship responded instantly, scanning the skies below, projecting force fields and activating defensive measures. She could feel the Starling reading her thoughts, anticipating moves and actions faster than she could articulate them. It was more than a machine. It was a living companion, a partner in the unfolding journey. A soft pulse of light in the cockpit indicated another signal arriving faint and coded. It was from the remnants of the fleet that had been lost during the early wars. The Starling began decoding the signal, revealing coordinates that would lead to their location, as well as warnings of potential ambushes and environmental hazards. The map expanded, showing the path forward, the challenges ahead, and the possibilities waiting in the unknown reaches of space. Elara felt a mixture of fear and excitement, the memories of past adventures mingling with the knowledge of the current mission. The Starling had awakened fully. It was ready to move forward with her as commander and Kale as guardian. The fusion of their strengths created a sense of readiness, a feeling that whatever awaited them in the vastness of space could be met with courage, intelligence, and power. Kale rumbled softly and nudged her shoulder as if urging her to make a decision. The dragon had always understood more than anyone the balance between caution and action. The ship responded with a gentle vibration, a signal of acknowledgement, the bond between elf dragon and ship forming a triangle of trust and readiness for the challenges to come. The desert stretched below them, no longer silent, now alive with the energy of the awakening Starling and the presence of Kale. The hangar behind them became a memory, a point of origin for the journey that was unfolding forward. The twin suns reflected off the ship's hull, illuminating the runes and markings that had always hinted at deeper magic and technology, combined forming a unique force that was waiting to be unleashed. Elara took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the Starling under her hands. The ship vibrated with life, each system aligned and ready, the engines humming softly in anticipation. She felt Kale's presence beside her wings, brushing the air above the ship, adding to the feeling of movement speed and readiness. It was a moment of perfect harmony, a moment that bridged past and future preparation and action memory and mission. The Starling's AI pulsed again, sending holographic lines of data across the cockpit, mapping possible trajectories, threats, and allies. The combination of her knowledge, Kale's instincts, and the Starling's intelligence created a synergy that was unmatched. The path ahead was uncertain, full of hidden dangers and potential discoveries. But for the first time in many years, Elara felt truly ready. Outside, the skies of Arcanus Prime stretched endlessly above the twin suns, casting a golden glow over the desert below. The shadows of clouds moved slowly across the sands, marking time and distance. Kale circled around the Starling, its wings creating a rhythm that matched the pulse of the ship and the beat of her own heart. They were ready to face the unknown, to follow the call of the lost fleet and to uncover secrets long buried in the stars. The awakening of the Starling was complete, and with it the promise of new adventures and challenges that would shape the fate of both elves and humans across the universe. Elara sat in the cockpit of the Starling, feeling the hum of the engines and the gentle vibration of the ship around her. The stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport, familiar constellations mingling with new ones she had never seen. Her mind drifted to the memories of the past, the laughter of her friends, the lessons of Captain Laura Vance, and the thrill of her first missions. She remembered the Starling as it had been in her youth, a small but intelligent vessel, full of life and energy. Now older, wiser, and alive with power beyond her comprehension. Kale circled around the ship, its wings cutting through the thin atmosphere above the outer layer of the planet. Its eyes were sharp, watching for any signs of danger. The dragon had been her companion through trials and battles, teaching her to trust instincts, to listen to the quiet signals of the world around them, and to understand the balance of power and patience. The bond between them was unspoken yet deep, each knowing the other without words. The Starling's AI pulsed softly, indicating new data had been received, encrypted messages recorded long ago from humans who had disappeared during the first interstellar conflict. The voice of the ship filled the cockpit, calm and steady, highlighting critical information. Logs from Captain Laura Vance detailing movements of human fleets, warnings of rogue admirals, and the use of forbidden elven magic to control minds were projected across the panels. Elara's mind raced as she absorbed the information. These revelations changed everything she thought she knew about the war and her place in it. The humans she had trained with had faced a threat greater than she had realized, a combination of technology and magic that had shifted the balance of power. She remembered the day they had disappeared, the panic, the confusion, and the sense of loss that had followed for years. Now it was clear that their disappearance had been part of a larger plan. The Starling projected holographic images of fleets moving through space maps marked with coordinates and warnings of ambushes. Her fingers moved across the controls, analyzing the data. Kale rumbled softly, sensing her unease. The dragon's presence was reassuring, a reminder that they were not alone. The Starling and Kale formed a triangle of trust, knowledge, and instinct, giving her strength to face what lay ahead. Memories of the past were not only comforting, but also painful. Ilara recalled the night missions under Muam. Starlit skies, the conversations about loyalty and honor, and the silent moments of reflection when the universe felt vast and unknowable. The crew of humans had been more than teachers. They had been family friends who had shared hopes and fears, and dreams. The Starling had held all of those memories within its circuits, preserving the essence of their lives. The AI began decoding new signals hidden within the old transmissions, revealing locations of lost fleets and hidden bases. Some were abandoned colonies. Others were secret research stations once used to develop weapons combining human technology and elven magic. The discovery was both thrilling and frightening, showing the depth of the conflict and the potential for new alliances. Or New War's Kale shifted its wings, adjusting to the movement of the Starling. The dragon had always been a protector and a guide, sensing the unseen threats around them. Its eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the light of the holographic displays. The bond between dragon and elf was strengthened by shared experiences, a silent communication that required no words. Only trust and understanding. Ilara's thoughts returned to Captain Laura Vance and the crew. They had left messages and instructions, for her a path to follow a mission that was never completed. The Starling revealed one final recording. Laura's voice calm and steady, reminding Ilara that the fate of both elves and humans was intertwined, and that the key to peace lay in understanding and courage, not only strength. The message resonated within her, giving clarity to the chaos of the present. The Starling projected images of ancient technology hidden across different star systems. Data grids showed possible locations of rogue fleets, and traces of forbidden magic combined with advanced human engineering. Ilara's fingers traced the lines of light across the panels, feeling the pulse of knowledge flowing from the ship into her mind. The power she felt was immense, yet manageable, with patience and focus. Kale rumbled softly as the ship navigated closer to the coordinates indicated by the newly decoded data. The dragon's instincts guided them, avoiding hidden hazards, gravitational anomalies, and remnants of past battles floating silently in space. The harmony between elf dragon and Starling allowed them to move as one, anticipating threats and adjusting strategy. Before challenges appeared, Ilara felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. The ghosts of the past were not simply memories, they were warnings, lessons, and guides showing her the dangers of hubris and the importance of understanding history. She had grown from a child into a warrior, a leader, and now a bridge between two species whose paths had been divided for centuries. The Starling pulsed again, a soft light indicating another signal received. The transmission came from a hidden human fleet lost for decades. A voice, faint yet familiar, spoke of survival and the need to unite against a greater enemy. Those who had been thought lost were alive and had been waiting for someone to connect the pieces of the puzzle. Ilara felt a surge of determination, knowing that her mission was only beginning and that the path ahead would require courage, intelligence, and trust in the bonds she had formed. Kale flapped its wings, adjusting to the ship's trajectory, its movements precise and deliberate, showing experience and awareness that complemented Ilara's skill and the Starling's intelligence. The three moved together through the vastness of space, a harmonious force ready to face the remnants of the past and the challenges of the future. The holographic displays continued to fill the cockpit with information, showing hidden fleets, locations of lost crews, and potential threats. The Starling integrated all available data, creating predictive models and highlighting paths that would allow them to avoid unnecessary danger. While the information was overwhelming, Ilara felt clarity forming, a strategy guided by instinct and experience, memories of her childhood missions. The lessons of Captain Laura Vance and the guidance of Kale merged with the knowledge held by the Starling, creating a network of understanding that allowed Ilara to feel confident in the decisions she needed to make. The ghosts of the past were no longer simply reminders of what had been lost. They were guides showing the way forward, illuminating paths that could lead to peace or further conflict. Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the Starling under her hands and Kale's presence beside her. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before them, filled with unknown dangers and unseen allies. The journey would be long, difficult, and filled with uncertainty, yet she felt ready. The ghosts of the past had awakened her. Understanding revealed secrets and offered guidance they would not be forgotten, and now they would help her shape the future for both elves and humans alike. Ilara gripped the controls of the Starling as the ship moved through the void above Arcanus Prime. The hum of engines resonated beneath her hands. Kale circled beside the ship, its wings catching starlight reflecting in faint patterns across the cockpit. The galaxy stretched endlessly in all directions, distant suns and planets creating a canvas of light and shadow. The calm was deceptive, the tension thick with unseen danger and the memory of conflicts long past. The Starling pulsed with energy, its systems fully awake, responding to her commands with precision. The AI highlighted anomalies on the sensors, warning of approaching drones, remnants of old wars built to patrol and destroy without thought or pause. Their metal bodies glinted as they moved in formation, targeting the ship and its passengers. Kale growled low, feeling the approach of hostile forces, its wings tensing, ready to strike. Ilara felt the surge of adrenaline in her chest. She remembered her training with Captain Laura Vance, the maneuvers through asteroid fields, the sudden ambushes, and the need for quick thinking. She combined these memories with the knowledge held by the Starling and Kale's instincts, creating a strategy in her mind. She adjusted the course of the ship, weaving through the shadows of a nearby asteroid belt. The first wave of drones attacked, their sensors flaring red as beams of energy cut through the darkness. Ilara moved with precision, guiding the Starling through narrow gaps, the AI compensating for movement, the ship almost dancing through the field. The Starling's pulse lasers fired automatically, striking the drones one by one. Kale swooped beside them, striking with claws and tail, creating shockwaves that scattered remaining attackers. A heavy drone broke through the formation, its hull thick and reinforced. Kale lunged at it, striking with force, but the creature shrugged off the impact. Ilara adjusted controls, launching a combination of energy pulses and physical projectiles coordinated with Kale's attacks. They worked as one, the synergy of dragon, elf, and ship creating a force unmatched by the mechanical enemies surrounding them. The hangar from which they had launched was now far behind, a memory of safety and beginnings. The Starling moved with grace, cutting through the void, its engines leaving faint streaks of blue light. Behind the drones were relentless, yet each movement Ilara made was precise, calculated, using every ounce of experience and instinct she had gained over the years. Explosions rocked the void as drones were destroyed or forced to retreat. The Starling pulsed, absorbing damage, repairs flowing through its systems almost as if the ship itself was alive, feeling pain and mending itself. Kale roared, signaling a temporary victory. Their bond a triangle of power, resilience, and trust. Ilara focused on the holographic displays revealing new data, the remnants of fleets moving through hidden channels behind asteroids and debris fields. Hidden energy signals suggested traps laid long ago by rogue admirals using forbidden magic combined with ancient technology. The maps expanded, showing possible routes for escape and engagement, allowing her to anticipate the next moves of her enemies. A shadow moved in the distance, the largest drone yet approaching slowly, its sensors active. Kale tensed, preparing for combat. Ilara felt the Starling respond instantaneously, the engines flaring with additional power shielding reinforced and weapons systems aligning. She knew this would be the greatest test of her skill, courage, and trust in the bond with Kale and the ship. The drone fired first beams of energy lancing through the void. Kale dove, taking a wide arc, scattering debris. The Starling maneuvered with precision, firing pulses of energy combined with small projectiles striking weak points in the hull. The drone retaliated with rapid attacks, its hull resisting much of the damage, yet the pressure was relentless. Each strike required focus, timing, and coordination to avoid destruction. Ilara recalled tactics learned from Captain Vance, the patience, the rhythm of attacks, the understanding of enemy patterns. Kale responded as if reading her, thoughts moving to intercept attacks and create openings. The Starling pulsed with energy, its AI adjusting targeting, systems and defensive measures, constantly providing real-time data enabling precise strikes. The battle raged across the void shadows of energy, and fire streaked past the ship, illuminating distant asteroids. The hum of engines chaos, wing beats, and the pulse of energy weapons created a symphony of motion, danger, and strategy. The largest drone, weakened by coordinated attacks, faltered, allowing the Starling to strike a final blow, its energy pulse penetrating armor and core systems. The drone disintegrating into fragments. Alara felt a moment of relief, yet the AI indicated more signals, faint and distant. A hidden beacon appeared, faint flickering from a long-lost human fleet, hidden behind a nebula. The signal called to her a warning and a promise. Her journey was far from over, and the battle was only a beginning. Kale rumbled in agreement, sensing the pull of destiny, the path forward lined with dangers unknown and opportunities to reclaim lost knowledge. The Starling adjusted course, following the beacon. Kale flew beside the ship, its wings slicing the void with precision. The shadows of destroyed drones and debris from battles past floated silently, a reminder of the dangers they faced and the lessons learned. The bond between elf dragon and ship was stronger than ever, combining instinct, strategy, and technology into an unstoppable force. Alara looked at the stars ahead, distant suns glowing faintly, painting the void in gold and silver light. The path forward was uncertain, filled with unknown fleets and hidden threats, yet the courage and determination within her burned brightly. The Starling pulsed a steady rhythm, Kale's wings slicing the air, a promise of readiness for whatever lay ahead. The nebula grew larger, casting colorful light across the cockpit displays, revealing hidden dangers in patterns of energy and shadow. Alara felt the anticipation, the tension, and the thrill of adventure. She had left the hangar behind, the desert, and the past memories now guiding her forward into the unknown. The fire and shadows of the battle had tested her skill, and the bond with Kale and the Starling proved unbreakable, with engines humming at full power, shields reinforced, and weapon systems aligned. Alara guided the Starling forward, following the beacon toward the lost fleet. Kale circled in harmony, signaling readiness to act in perfect coordination. The vastness of space stretched before them, endless challenges, unknown dangers, and the promise of discovery filling the hearts of elf and dragon alike. Alara took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the Starling, the presence of Kale, and the quiet guidance of the AI. All were one, moving as a singular force, prepared to face the shadows and fire ahead. The battle had tested them, and they had prevailed. The journey was far from over, but the awakening strength, courage, and unity between them promised success against whatever threats awaited in the stars beyond. Alara guided the Starling through the vibrant hues of the nebula, the glow from distant suns and scattered particles reflecting across the cockpit. Kale flew beside the ship, wings slicing the colorful clouds of gas and dust. The beacon from the lost human fleet pulsed faintly, drawing them forward toward a destination hidden for decades. Their journey was nearing a turning point, a place where the past and future converged. Inside the cockpit, the Starling hummed softly, systems fully operational. The AI projected holographic maps of the surrounding sectors, highlighting fleets and colonies. Long-forgotten energy readings indicated hidden stations and derelict vessels scattered across the nebula. Many had been untouched since the early conflicts between elves and humans. Alara absorbed the information, carefully planning routes, avoiding hazards, and anticipating possible encounters. Kyle rumbled low, its eyes scanning for danger. The dragon had been her companion through countless trials, and now its instincts guided them through the shifting shadows of the nebula. Its wings created currents that helped stabilize the Starling in areas where gravitational anomalies threatened to destabilize them. Both elf and dragon moved as one, relying on instinct, experience, and trust. Alara recalled the messages from Captain Laura Vance, hidden within the Starling's memory. The captain had prepared instructions for a mission that transcended ordinary operations, a mission to reconnect elves and humans against the forces that had manipulated them. Both species had suffered from the greed and ambition of a few. Now the opportunity to unite against a common threat lay within reach. The echoes of the past guided her understanding of what needed to be done. The Starling pulsed as it detected energy readings from the hidden fleet, faint but consistent signals that suggested survival and readiness of crews Long thought lost, Alara adjusted the controls, moving toward the source Kale circled, above signaling readiness. The dragon's instincts aligned perfectly with the ship's AI and her own thoughts, creating a seamless connection of awareness, anticipation, and strategy. The first of the lost ships emerged from behind a dense cluster of gas clouds, massive and scarred by time. Yet energy flowed through them, faintly glowing signs of life and technology surviving against the odds. The fleet had waited years, patiently avoiding detection until someone arrived to guide them forward. Alara felt a surge of emotion, relief, hope, and responsibility all converging in the quiet hum of the Starling. Holographic displays projected the layout of the fleet, revealing ships of various sizes, some armed, some cargo vessels, some medical stations. The Starling integrated this data, automatically calculating safe paths for approach potential threats and areas needing assistance. Kyle's wings beat a slow rhythm, steadying the ship as they drew closer to the fleet. Alara remembered the words of the captain, emphasizing trust, patience, and courage. She felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. Yet it was tempered by confidence in the bond she had formed with Kale and the Starling. Together, they were ready to bridge the divide between elves and humans to forge a new alliance born from understanding and shared purpose. The fleet responded to their presence with soft energy signals, identification codes, and gentle pulses of light. Alara guided the Starling closer, moving among the ships, forming a path for others to follow. The sense of history surrounding them was palpable, echoes of past battles and sacrifices, lingering in the quiet corridors and hulls of the lost vessels. Kale swooped in, low signaling to any remaining hostiles, their presence intimidating yet controlled. The dragon's sheer size and power conveyed strength without aggression, reminding all that unity and coordination were more powerful than fear. The Starling pulsed again, its AI integrating the fleet into their navigation, creating a network of awareness for all ships involved. Alara's heart swelled as she realized the full scope of the mission, not simply survival, but the creation of a bridge between species divided for centuries. The lost human fleet had survived in isolation, now guided by the Starling, and her presence they could be united with elven allies, forming a force capable of confronting the rogue powers that had manipulated history. Holographic lines traced possible paths, forward safe routes, and areas needing repair. The Starling communicated continuously, providing real-time updates to all ships in formation. Kale's wings flared as if celebrating the achievement, the dragon's instincts confirming the accuracy and potential of their coordinated movement. Together they moved as one through the nebula, weaving between clouds of gas and debris. The final signal arrived, a message from the heart of the fleet, a voice faint and familiar acknowledging the arrival of their guide and expressing hope for unity and action. Alara felt a deep connection to those voices, knowing the years of waiting had been worth the effort. The past had been difficult, filled with loss and separation, but now a chance for reconciliation and cooperation was within reach. The Starling responded with a gentle pulse, its lights illuminating the cockpit, indicating readiness for the next phase of the mission. Kale settled beside her wings, folding slightly, the dragon's presence a reminder of loyalty and protection. The fleet moved in quiet formation behind them, a symphony of light and motion, guided by shared purpose and understanding. Alara took a deep breath, feeling the Starling's pulse and Kale's steady presence. The journey ahead would be long, difficult, and filled with unknown dangers, but the foundations were laid: trust, courage, and experience, forming a bridge between past and future. She had returned to the hangar years ago, seeking a connection. Now she had found a mission, one that could change the fate of both elves and humans across the stars. The nebula stretched before them, a swirl of color, light, and shadow, hiding dangers yet revealing opportunities. Their path was clear, guided by beacon signals, holographic maps, and instincts honed through years of training and battle. Alara smiled, the thrill of adventure and responsibility mingling as she prepared to lead the fleet toward a new horizon. With engines humming, Kale's wings steady, and the Starling alive beneath her hands, Alara felt the promise of possibility. The lost fleet of humans united with elven allies under her guidance, a force built from memory, courage, and trust. Their new mission had begun to reclaim lost knowledge, confront remaining threats, and forge a future beyond the divisions of the past. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of challenges and wonders, and for the first time in many years, she felt truly ready to meet them.